So a little bit about us. Marquee 360 is a Microsoft Gold partner, and we were actually a finalist for their project and portfolio management and partner of the year. We have a global footprint in the US, Canada, and Europe. And our company was founded by former Microsoft employees. So our team has 20 plus years in the industry, and we work really closely with Microsoft's technology team during their development. So our solutions is kept up to date. Our expertise is in transformation using best practices to collaborate with whatever your current Microsoft 365 suite is. And then we kind of help fill in the gaps by identifying your wish lists and make it as effective for your PM team. Our core focus is customer success. We act as a trusted advisor, and our key focus is to extend Microsoft's solution to enable better user experiences. Our solution is out of the box, so it's yours once it's implemented, no monthly subscription fees, etc. And we're here to support you from start to finish. I'm going to put my email in the chat, so feel free to reach out and we can do a private demo for your team around whatever your focus is. So just let us know. And with that, I will hand it off to Erin for her introduction.
Thanks, Megan. Also, we're recording the session, so Megan will be sending that out afterwards as well. So you can share that out with your team too. So like Megan said, we work on the Microsoft 365 platform. Our biggest specialty is our one connected experience. So what that means is we create a project management platform that you can manage your entire project lifecycle from start to finish. So we start with this project. We can use project online or project for the web, and whatever you're scheduling your projects in now. We take that and use Power Apps to give you a better UI and then give you some more capabilities within Microsoft Project. We use Microsoft Teams for all of our collaboration, and anything that you can do in your project environment, you can also do in Teams once we implement our solution. So you don't have to switch back and forth between different apps. And then we use Power Automate to automate any workflows in the background. So any manual tasks, things like that, workflows, approvals, we use Power Automate for that. And then we bring it all together in Power BI to give you interactive dashboards and reports. With our full solution that I just showed you, we can also take some of those capabilities and create standalone apps so that if you don't need the whole solution or you have some budget constraints, we can take just your, do it in phases. So whatever you need, you're getting from us without having to buy things that you don't need. Working on the Power of Platform and within Microsoft allows us to do that much easier, so there's no custom coding. And once you have it, it's yours, like Megan said. But any help you do need, we are there. And I'm going to pass it over to Stella.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So today we are going to be looking at Microsoft's newest cloud-based work and project management service. So for Project for the Web, specifically, we're going to look at how Project for the Web can be utilized for project management and specifically in PPM 360. So what is resource management? Today, we're going to look at how we can utilize resource management tools in Microsoft's PPM tool. And during today's webinar, we're going to be looking at PPM 360, which is Marquee 360's pre-configured accelerator for Project for the Web. So starting from our homepage here, from our PPM 360, we can see that our data in PPM 360 is going to populate data for pre-developed Power BI reports, which work with Project for the Web to display the most up-to-date information. This mechanism is extremely useful and critical for resource management because it utilizes the reports to make critical resource management decisions, such as roles or resources are over-allocated, and which ones have the availability to do more work. So first, we're going to go ahead and build a schedule in Project for the Web briefly, and then we will look at how to assign tasks within the schedule to your resources. We're also going to look at how to manage resources by assigning specific skills to different resources and roles as well. Lastly, we'll look into those pre-developed Power BI reports that I mentioned and see how the data that we're using in Project for the Web is populating the reports. So just to briefly build a schedule, We'll start a new project here, give our project a name. And then we can move over to a tab. Now, with most companies that have an intake process and utilize our Intake PPM 360 app, project requests be submitted through there, and scheduled templates would already be associated with those. So when new projects are created from approval, project managers will see pre-populated tasks here, depending on the template that was designated for the request type or the project type. But for the purposes of today, we'll just go ahead and add a few tasks. I'll go ahead and make this a subtask. And if we want this to be a summary task, we can simply make this a subtask as well. We can continue to do this until we have multiple phases and multiple summary tasks. And now we can see here we have these on the same outline. So here in our Assign To column, we can go ahead and start assigning tasks. This is going to be used user lookup, and it's going to sync from an AD directory. Additional users can also be added to the environment. So I'll go ahead and just assign a name here. As you can see here, it's pulling from our AD for Mia. Now we're going to go ahead and look at some pre-populated projects, specifically in the industry of real estate and construction that I've gone ahead and created. So if we navigate over here to our portfolios, we can see that we have multiple portfolios. We're going to go ahead and dive into the real estate investment portfolio today. As you can see here, we have multiple projects in this portfolio. Projects in a portfolio don't necessarily have to be associated with each other or similar, but they can be. Programs, however, generally are associated with each other and can share resources between programs. So as you can see here, when we move to programs, all of the projects in the real estate investment portfolio will be made up into two programs. So we can see here that we have real estate remodels and real estate rental properties. As you can see here, we have 4 of the projects we just saw in portfolios. Since I am the project manager for all of these projects, I can see them in my projects view. Now this is going to show me additional projects outside of just the real estate investment. However, if I wanted to see which program each one was in or portfolio, I could add a column here to do so. Now when I look at all of my projects, I can filter this and see which ones I need to manage, how the overall health is doing for my real estate remodels, and how the other ones are doing as well. Of course, this is completely customizable. So if I want to manage resources within my real estate investment portfolio, specifically these programs, I can utilize a view like this to see how my resource health is doing in any given project. Let's go ahead and take a look into our rental beach homes Laguna property and see how our resources are doing. As you can see here, we have that it's in the program real estate rental properties and the portfolio real estate investment portfolio. We have a resources tab here that shows us the resources that have been assigned across the team. This view is customizable and also editable. So if I wanted to move this comment to the left, I could. As we can see here, I can see each of my resources, how many effort hours they've been assigned in this specific project, how many they've completed, and how many are remaining. As you can see here, this is a role that I've added but have not yet assigned. So we can add resources directly to our team here by searching for a resource. So let's say I wanted to add Megan, for example. I could do so. I could assign her a role, such as just a team member, and the dates that I think I'm probably going to need her for this project. I believe Megan's already on this project, so I'll go ahead and add someone else. And now we have added Neil. So as you can see here, I have Neil, and I can now assign him to tasks in this project. So I go to my task section. Here is where I can see my schedule, fully populated. I have already gone ahead and utilized tools such as conditional coloring to identify specific resources as a color. Megan, myself is purple, and then also any tasks that have duration of 3 days. As you can see here, this is our grid view where we have our tasks, and I can see my assigned to column. Once again, these tasks are completely customizable. I can add a column. I can even create a custom field as well. I can create a number, yes or no, choice, which allows me to choose my choice options, number, or even a date. If I create a custom field and decide I don't want that field anymore, I can simply delete the field by editing it. Of note, Microsoft only does allow up to 10 custom fields. Looking at my schedule here, we can see that I have some named resources assigned to tasks, such as myself, Megan, but I also have some general roles as well. Things like realtor, foreman, superintendent. These are some roles that you would expect in a construction or real estate project. These are used in cases where I may not know which foreman I specifically want to utilize for this project or which one will have availability to do so. This can act as a resource request or a resource hold. And then we can see on the reports where we'll look at all foreman roles and see which one will have the availability to help assist and be able to be assigned to this task long term. In addition to our grid view, we have other views here. But for resources, our best ones are really going to be somewhat this timeline. So charts, not so good for resource management. People, which is one of my personal favorite, which can be utilized here to drop tasks to each other. Even from completed, we can move them here. And I can see how many late tasks and incomplete tasks per resource. I can also filter from this page to show me only assign tasks to, let's say, non-users. This tells me that I have 3 resources, general resources assigned to this project, that I need these tasks to actually be assigned to users. This is something that either project manager could manage or resource manager would be utilized for resource management request. We also have my personal favorite view, the assignments view. For those of you familiar with Project Online, you'll probably see that this is very similar to their task usage view. It's one of Microsoft's newest features, as well as this goals view. But for the purposes of today in resource management, we'll focus on this one. The benefits of this is we can see here that for each of my resources, I can see the tasks that are assigned in this project, the start date, the finish date, and how many total effort hours I have assigned for the start and finish date. This view allows greater granularity for me to be able to go to a specific date, view by week, and I can also group by task. So for tasks that I may have multiple resources assigned to it, this could be a useful view. But for purposes of this project, we'll just look at it by resource. So let's say right now I'm doing it by week. Let's say that I have 65 hours and it needs to be accomplished from here to here, but I really want him to focus on about 15 hours here and the rest the following week. As you can see here, when we change hours in the schedule, it's going to update the total effort hours in the schedule as well. If we look at one of our other projects here that I have pre-populated as well, we can see that there's tasks assigned to all there's resources assigned to all tasks. If I wanted to check for any tasks that did not have resources assigned, I could once again use this filter and ask for any unassigned tasks. These are milestone tasks, so as you know, these will not have resources assigned to them. You can look at my general roles here and see general contractor, how much time they have, named resources, project manager role, and superintendent as well. Once again, I can utilize this pupil view to see how many tasks are late or incomplete. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our resources, active bookable resources. Here I can see all of my active bookable resources, and I can filter by the type. So here we have user resources. These are ones that are linked from the AD. And then if we also have resources such as project manager, superintendent, foreman, that can be assigned across multiple projects and are reportable as well. If I want to add a new bookable resource, I can do so here. Something that we have added outside of Microsoft Accelerator is this resource rate field, which we find customers to find very useful. This can be utilized on a financial report or in any view, and it can be linked with an outside financial integration system or even our Financials 360 app. I can choose the resource type, for example, equipment or facility. So if I know that I'm going to need to use an office space, I can do so here. Teams are customizable. You can see IT operations by department here as well. Everything's customizable. Resource capacity and utilization. Quickly coming back to this. So to discuss what is the difference between capacity and utilization, very common question. So capacity is the maximum amount that something or someone can be used. So for example, equipment, facility, or contractor. So when we set a resource's capacity, that is the max amount that can be assigned work to them. So the max is going to be 1.00, which would be equivalent to full-time equivalent. Is utilization. Utilization is the effective use of something or someone. So it's how much I'm actually using it. So for example, I have the capacity of 40 hours to do work in 1 week, I'm sorry. And generally I utilize all 40 hours. But sometimes you may have resources that are part-time and the utilization may be less. When you're on holiday, for example, utilization would be less as well. Navigating back to our bookable resources here, we can see that we can choose, for example, a contact. I can create a contact, let's say someone that may be part of the project team, or isn't directly part of the company. Create a new contact here. Let's say real estate developer. I can say the resource capacity to do work. How much actually being utilized. And we could assign them a resource rate as well. In project service here, we can say how much we want to actually utilize this. And we can save it and close it. The security settings around creating new bookable resources are normally restricted to PMO or resource managers. Now that we've created this real estate developer contact, we'll see that the system will allow us to go back to a project. Normally it likes to do it in the same screen. And now I can assign that resource to a task. Now this resource will all show up in my resources here and the total amount of hours. Since the task I assigned them didn't have any, sorry, I had 8 hours. Sorry. We can refresh this and see that it will show. Lastly, now we're going to go ahead and look at our reports. Now the data that I just put into this demo will not be shown, but if I wanted it to, I would simply go to Power BI and refresh this to manual refresh. Normally in Power BI, we have our reports to refresh 8 times a day, which is the maximum time slots. Here now we can look at our 3 resource reports, which is our resource dashboard, which gives us a wide variety of information across all of our projects. We have filters that we can use as well. So for example, if I only want the projects in my real estate ones, I can filter it down to show me only mine in those programs. These reports are interactive. So if I want to look at Erin specifically here, I can see that she has 4 overdue tasks and 3 completed. Here we can also see that for the dev team, for example, this is how much effort they have remaining and no effort has been completed. For a solutions architect, I can see they have a lot of hours assigned. By hovering over this, I can see the exact amount, 504. And then for myself here, I can see I've completed quite a bit of work, but I have quite a lot left. Here are some of the resources by project. If I want to look at specific projects as well, I could do so here, project name. Filtering in. We'll look at the resource assignments report, and then lastly, my favorite, the resource availability report. So here we can see some visuals and then also this table, which shows us our resource, project, and then task in a collapsed form. These are also interactive. So if I want to see, for example, Michelle, I can see this is my resource, all the projects that she's assigned to, and if I further expand it, I can see the tasks, progress, effort hours, and completed. We can utilize our filters as well to narrow down to just the programs we were looking at. And we can now see here all my tasks. We can filter this column by resource name alphabetically, my start date as well, and my effort hours here as well. So if I want to see which of my resources in these programs have the most hours assigned to them, I can see that, and then which ones have the most remaining, and who's completed the most amount of work. Here I can see, once again, all the projects I'm assigned to, all the tasks within a project, completed ones, and then we can also see that late tasks will appear and right here. The benefits of using named versus generic resources is that I can see here for my resources, I can select, for example, developer, foreman, general contractor, and some of my other general roles. And then in addition, I can say select myself. So if I'm a foreman, for example, and I know that, Erin's a foreman, and so is let's say I'm a foreman as well. I can see between me and Erin, if we were foremans, how much hours that we need help with, or how many hours that we are available to help with here. And then by looking at this foreman role, I can see they have about 129 hours that need to be assigned across my actual users that are foremans. Looking at my favorite report here, my personal favorite, this is the one I find the most useful for resource management. So this actually helps us ensure that we are not over allocating or burning out our resources, which is a very common trend these days. So we can see here by resource, the project domain that she has. I can see here that, for example, Topeka in October is extremely over allocated. So we can see here ones in red. I can see that Mia is over allocated, and here are all the tasks that she's currently assigned. So she's over allocated by 12 hours, the month of October. And I can see these tasks specifically. We can add a filter here specifically for resource type, for example, and then that can, where I can filter specifically by role to show me only all of my named resources or generic ones. And we can also see here, for example, my construction resources, foreman, general contractor, and I'll just go ahead and add superintendent as well, since those work in groups. Which of these groups, for example, if I needed 3 of these, who would be able to fit these for, let's say, January or September, for example. So I would need more resources for this general contractor than I would for foreman or superintendent. I can then look at the specific projects here, and I can assign a group of a foreman, general contractor, and superintendent to the same condo rental remodel project. But I only need a foreman for a rental condominium NYC Chicago project. The visuals are also interactive as well, so we can click here. They're color coded by resource. So I know we're right at time. Does anyone have any questions? And something else I kind of wanted to go into, but we ran out of time, was a really cool feature called skills here. So I can create a skill and I can assign it to a resource. So for example, if I need a specific resource, let's say general contractor, they should have the skill, field contracting. So this was a test one I created here. So if I want to add a skill for them, I can say, great leader. For example, this is just a test. I'm sorry, look for one, want to add one. I created it. It can be a skill or a certification. I'm going to make it a skill, save and close. And now I can assign that skill to this person as well. So this is another interesting and cool, new feature from Microsoft. So adding this skill, I can look at my resources, and if I wanted to, I create a filter column that says, show me all my resources that have this skill. And not only that, but you can rate this skill as proficient, or you can rate it as good, bad, and obviously that's going to be, dependent on, it's not, so here we can set a rating value. So familiar, good, or proficient. So for example, even a language. So I speak Portuguese, for example, or whatever language you speak. You could add this, and then you could say, intermediate, advanced, so on. So Microsoft is continuing to roll out better and newer resource capabilities. For example, we just got the resource assignments view, similar to Project Online, about a week and a half ago. So Marquee 360, I think we'll continue to do these resource management webinars, but we have some very exciting things coming out that we're excited about that we really believe will help your project management and resource management process.